Happy Friday. I hope that everybody is doing great. I'm going to be making a video from my kitchen today about kefir. I have given some kefir grains to a few family members and friends, and I've had other people ask me, what is kefir? How do you make it? What does it taste like? So hopefully I can answer some questions with this little video that I'm going to make. First of all, kefir is a fermented milk. So you use what's called kefir grains and you put it in 4 cups of milk, let it sit for about 24 hours. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than that. And then in the process, it's fermented and it turns into like a very thin yogurt drink. It tastes a lot like plain yogurt, except just a lot thinner. I like to use it to make smoothies, whatever kind of fruit. My favorite is pineapple with spinach and strawberries, but you can use whatever kind of fruit you want to make a smoothie. Add some vegetables. It's very healthy. It's got lots of probiotics. Making it at home, you can control how much sugar is in it. When you buy it at the store, which is still good, especially if you get the plain, but at the store, if you get a flavored kefir, it's got a lot of added sugar. So I personally don't like that. I'm very conscious about how much added sugar I have. And it's a lot cheaper actually just to make it at home, and you wouldn't believe how easy it is. So that's what I'm going to show you. First of all, the milk that I use is just a plain 2% milk. I've used skim milk, 1%, whole, 2%. That doesn't matter. Organic milk does not work. It's ultra pasteurized, which kills some of the lactose in the process. So it just will not ferment. Another thing that I've had a hard time with is plant milks, coconut milk, soy, any of that. The only one that I've been able to use is cashew milk with pea protein, and that will actually ferment and give me a nice thick kefir. But we don't have any dairy allergies in my house, so I just stick with regular plain milk. So first of all, I had some kefir grains that I bought a couple years ago online back in 2020, and when they came in the mail, they were dehydrated, so I had to reconstitute them, which is kind of a lengthy process, but it's worth it in the end because I've had these kefir grains for going close to 4 years now, and they're going strong. They grow as you continue to make kefir, so I've been able to share my grains with family and friends. So I poured 4 cups of milk into this jar with my grains, and I let it sit for 24 hours. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, just depending on the temperature in your house, or if your grains are not as active, and I'll explain that in just a few minutes. First, I'm going to show you what I do once it's been fermented, how I go on and strain it. So this is a stainless steel strainer, very fine mesh, as you can see. So I just put that over a 4 cup, this is 4 cup, yeah, 4 cup glass measuring cup. You can use a bowl too, but I just find this easier because once I'm done straining it, I'm going to pour it into some jars so that I can put it in the refrigerator and have it for later. So on the top, once it's fermented, your grains will float to the top. So I'm gonna dump that out first, and you can see it kind of almost has a cottage cheese consistency. So I'm just gonna start with that, and I just mash it through. And actually, when you agitate the grains, that kind of wakes them up, and it helps them to, from what I understand, and from what I've read, and it's been in my, it's actually worked for me, it helps them to stay active and to grow. So when I first got these grains and they were dry, I had about, I don't know, I want to say about a teaspoon that came in the mail. And I think it took me about a week to reconstitute them and get them ready to actually make kefir. But they'll multiply the longer that you go. I've had mine multiply so much that in the past 3 years, I've been able to share them with several different friends and some family. I've had so many extras that I've actually given them to my chickens. I've put them in smoothies because they're healthy to eat. I don't know that I could actually eat them plain. I feel like it's better to put it in a smoothie because then you kind of get past the texture. So I'm just mashing this through. There's a little bit of kefir that's on these grains, so I'm just mashing it through the strainer. And then I'm left with right at about maybe a little over a tablespoon of grains. So I'm going to move these to a clean jar, just like that, and I'm going to put milk in this later. And you'll notice, like when I pour, you may see a little bit of clear liquid, or when you make this on your own, you'll notice that sometimes there's pockets of clear liquid. That's fine. That's just your way. It doesn't mean that your kefir has been over fermented. You can just kind of stir it up. And then, I mean, it'll all mix in anyway once you go through this process of straining it. So that's all I'm doing. It gets easier, or it goes through easier once you've gotten past the grains that are on top. So now I'm just doing this. There's a couple grains that are still in here. But this is so easy. I think the price of kefir up here, if you buy 1 quart, I think it's like $4.99. I can't remember. It's been so long since I bought it. I was buying it for a while to make smoothies, and then I thought, man, why am I spending so much? Because I was going through a lot. I thought, why am I spending so much money when this is something that I can make at home? Because I was going through, I don't know, about a quart every 2 days. So, you know, you say $5 every 2 days. It may not sound like a lot, but when you drink it every day, it does add up, especially if it's something that you can easily make. You know, a gallon of milk is $5.69. So instead of, I can make a whole gallon for the same price as a quart. So I'm almost done. I'm just going to continue to, or pour the rest of that's in this jar. So I'm showing you 1 jar. Actually, I now have enough grains to make two jars, 4-cup jars. And like I said, when I first started making this, I only had enough to make 1, but they continued to grow. If you feel like, okay, I'm just not gonna have time to do that, once your grains get established, or if you end up getting some grains from somebody, then it's super easy to just make it, let it sit on, or put your milk and your grains in a jar, let it sit on the counter for 24 hours. And then if you don't have time to strain it the next day, just put it in the refrigerator and it'll be fine. I've left mine in the refrigerator, I don't know, sometimes for almost a month, and they're fine. The grains stay fine. There have been a few times that I've done that, and I've had to, it'll take a little bit longer once I strain it and then add more milk to make a fresh batch. Sometimes it'll take longer than 24 hours, or it's almost like they kind of, you know, your grains get a little bit sleepy. So when that happens also, I've just added just a little pinch of sugar to kind of help them wake up. Just like, I don't know, not even a teaspoon of raw sugar. Or you can do, you could probably add maybe a little bit of honey or something if you wanted. But I've only had to do that like a handful of times in the past couple of years. Typically, I mean, it's not a time-consuming process. So typically I don't have to just put it in the refrigerator and let it sit for very long. But life sometimes gets in the way, and you just gotta put things aside for a little bit. So that's 1 jar I've already strained in what, 8 minutes, not even that. So I'm just scraping what's here on the bottom, and I'm gonna move this over to some clean jars to put in the refrigerator and have for later for my smoothies. Hey, buddy. So now, let's see. I've got just some clean jars that I'm going to put this kefir in, and I'll keep it in the refrigerator until I'm ready to make a smoothie. If you think, okay, what am I going to do with, you know, she makes kefir every day. Who's going to drink 4 cups of kefir? Sometimes, if I do have extra, and I think I've been able to keep it in the refrigerator and it still be good for about a month. But if you're concerned about that, I've used it also to make biscuits and pancakes, cornbread, anything that you would use buttermilk for, or even just regular milk, I've been able to use my kefir. And actually, I like it better. I like my biscuits better when I've used kefir. They feel like they're lighter and fluffier than buttermilk, which, I mean, buttermilk already produces a really good biscuit. So that right there was almost 4 cups. There we go. So then I'll just put a lid on this, and it'll be ready for whenever I want to make a smoothie. And then now with the grains that I had left over, this is right at about a tablespoon. So I'm just gonna add some fresh milk to it. And I learned the hard way that you don't want to fill it all the way up. So I fill it just almost to where, right about here. Because, especially if you have very active grains, you could come downstairs the next morning and see that there's whey all over your counter because of the fermentation. So that's it. That's how you make kefir. If anybody has any questions, just send me a message and I will try to answer them for you. Super easy, very healthy, and so much cheaper than buying it at the store. And I think Ivan wants to say hi really quick.
Hi.
Everybody have a good day.